So I went on a first date last night, and I need to know, who raised you? Because I left before the entrees even came out. But before you tell me I'm overreacting, let me explain. And as always, if you like my stories, like to hear about my awful dating life, feel free to drop me a follow and let's get right into it. So I ended up matching with this girl on Hinge. Let's call her Lady. Lady and I ended up texting for 3 days before I asked her to go to dinner last night. We had plans to meet at 6:30. So I pull up to the restaurant right at about 6:25, shoot her a text, tell her I'm here. And I'm just sitting in my car waiting for her to get here. She ended up texting back at 6:40, hey, I just got here. I ask if she wants to meet at the front door. She says yes, and I go out there and wait for her. Now I'm standing there watching people get in their cars, out of their cars for a good 2 minutes. And then I see this girl walking up to me, waving, like she knows me. I literally hit a... Me? And she gets closer. Hey, Christian, it's so great to meet you. This lady standing in front of me had the most divorced mom haircut I've ever seen in my life. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And to be clear, every single picture in her Hinge profile was long hair, well past her shoulders. But she goes, hi, I'm Lady, nice to meet you, gives me a hug, and says, are you ready to go in? Well, fuck. I guess. I've never seen this haircut on any woman under the age of 35. It was almost cause enough for me to leave right before we even got in the restaurant. But everything else about her looked the same, and I was like, let's give it a shot. So we go in, talk to the host, and we go get seated. Grab some drinks, we're just sitting and talking, and then the waiter brings out bread. One of my favorite things about restaurants is when they bring out free bread. And this restaurant's bread is perfect. Perfect. Looks freshly baked, fresh olive oil with the seasonings in it. Amazing. But my date looks at the bread and flags our waiter back down before he takes more than 3 steps away from the table. He turns around. Can I help you, miss? She goes, this bread is cold. He looks at the bread. I look at the bread. There is literal steam coming off of it. It looks softer than a baby's butt. But trying to be a good server, he goes, oh, I'm so sorry, miss. Let me go get you a fresh basket. You'd think that's good, right? Sure, new basket, crazy woman. Nope. She looks him dead in the eyes and goes, I would like to know why you brought me cold bread in the first place. The waiter starts saying, oh, the bread sits in the window. She goes, I want fresh bread. I'm paying for fresh bread. And the waiter just goes, I understand, miss. She said, do you though? Because if you understood I didn't want cold bread, you wouldn't have brought me cold bread. He just nods his head, picks up the basket, and walks away. I'm sitting there, take a sip of my drink, because I don't know what else to do. Because the bread was not cold. I was sitting a foot away from it. The bread was warm. The waiter knew the bread was warm. I knew the bread was warm. The only person that thought the bread wasn't warm was her. And she believed it with complete conviction. We wait a few minutes though, after she continues to complain to me about the bread and how that's unacceptable. A new waiter brings another basket of bread. Do you know how bad you have to be as a customer to get a new waiter before you even put your order in? But she looks at it, picks a piece up this time, tears it open, puts it down, looks at the new waiter and goes, this is the same bread, you just warmed it up. The waiter looks at her and goes, miss, I can assure you this is fresh bread. She goes, no, it's not. I can tell by the texture. Whoever is running the kitchen needs to be made aware that this is not acceptable. The waiter just looks at me like, I'm gonna chime in. Meanwhile, I'm just as fucking shocked as he is. So he just takes the basket, doesn't say anything, leaves. About 5 minutes later, 5 minutes of complete awkward silence. This is probably by far one of the worst dates I've had in couldn't tell you how long. The third basket of bread arrives, and the manager brings us one. Nice looking guy, mid-40s. Also kind of looks like he's been doing this his whole life. You know what I mean by that. But he brings the bread over, and he goes, hi, my name is Tim. I wanted to bring this basket of bread over personally. Heard we've had some issues. Just want to make it right. I go, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. She doesn't even look at him. She grabs a piece out of the basket, puts it on her little side plate. Under her breath, she goes, what flour do you use? The manager goes, excuse me? She finally looks up. She goes, what flour do you use for your bread? And this stumped the manager. I don't know, probably all-purpose AP flour. I can go double-check with the kitchen if you'd like. She goes, yeah, why don't you do that? Because a restaurant like this should be using bread flour, not AP. Bread flour has I don't remember if it was a higher or a lower gluten, but it messes with the chew. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were a baking expert because your Hinge profile said you were a teacher. The manager stumped. Absolutely stumped. She just explained gluten to the manager on a first date. And I want you to understand, the bread was free. She didn't have to eat it. The bread showed up to make us happy. Finally, the manager thinks of something. And he goes, you know what, I appreciate your feedback. I will let the kitchen know. Lady goes, this isn't feedback. She said, I'm telling you what the problem is. And at this point, I'd had enough. I thought it was a bit. Maybe I was just being a little bit of a pussy and not saying anything before. I look at her, I go, you do realize the bread is free, right? You realize we haven't even ordered our food and you've caused 3 separate issues about 1 order of bread. That's complimentary. I said that. She cracked a smile. Like she was waiting for some sort of confrontation. She looks at me and she goes, oh, what are you, the bread expert? You know more about bread than I do? I lost it. Not proud to say it, man enough to admit it. I look at her and I go, it's fucking bread. Shut up. She goes, don't you dare talk to me like that. I go, this date is over. I've never seen such a big smile on a service worker's face. You would have thought I just gave that manager $1 million. He was smiling from ear to ear because he can't say it. None of the waiters could say it. And I went on a good 2-minute long tangent. I think if this girl ever sees me again, she might me. But I looked at the manager after and I go, you can bring us the bill, charge us for the drinks, and please charge me for a basket of bread. I don't care what it costs. He brought the bill over. It was under $20. It was basically $20. 18 something, I think. I left 50. Told him to split it between both the waiters. And lady just sat there, watching me. Trying to figure out if I was serious. I'm not quite sure. But I paid the bill, grabbed my stuff, and I start walking out. From across the restaurant. Not across the restaurant. Probably I was 2 tables away at this point. She goes, so you're really going to leave? I go, yeah. Enjoy your bread. Wow, that actually sounds so much less cool when I say it out loud, but you just had to be there. Because who raised you? Truly. To cause a fucking fiasco over some free bread. No wonder you're single. It makes sense now.